Stu, who is in Silverado Canyon in Orange County, and Mudslide. My goodness, set the scene for us here.
Well, you can take a look right there. Mudslide coming through this community out here. This is definitely where the fires were, earlier in the season. We see some pretty bad devastation right here. This is going to be off of Silverado Canyon near Kitterman Drive. And you can see what they're dealing with. They have folks down there. Now, Orange County Fire Authority telling our assignment desk, no loss to life, no injuries, but there's a lot of mud, and they're definitely looking for some heavy equipment to come out here and help clear some of the roadway. Now, where we're at right now, we found this devastation. Don't know if we can actually show what's going on up the road. Vinny's kind of keep panning the camera right there, push in. We see something off in the distance, and we know that the fire department is requesting heavy equipment. Go farther up the road, and you'll actually see I think there's actually a whole mudslide or something coming across the roadway. There's some trucks that are stuck right there, and this is actually Silverado Canyon, completely covered in mud out here. Now, again, this is probably or most likely because of the heavy rains out here, of course, but this is also because of the fires that were out here. A lot of the hillsides out here totally have some trees on there, but take a look at that. This is what they're talking about, and again, no injuries to anybody, but you can clearly see some cars either stuck in there or possibly even pushed out of driveways. Right now, though, we're just getting on scene. We're collecting some more information, but this all happening out here in the Silverado Canyon area, and this is very close to White's Canyon is the little community that we're right over. Michaela?
Beyond heartbreaking. Look, we know when we were watching those fires months ago, the concern was for this. If a big rain comes along, and by the way, it doesn't need to be a big rain. It just starts to collect and run really quickly. The hillsides get denuded. There's no root systems to hold in that moisture. Wow. And my God. This is devastating. This is just, this is heartbreaking. And I'm glad to hear that at this point there's no loss of life. Stu, obviously we're going to try and get our assignment desk to talk to some folks too about the situation there in Silverado Canyon. We'd love to hear from somebody. Stay over it. Let us know more of what you're finding, because it looks as though you're sort of finding it as we talk to you.
Yeah, we just got here, and you can definitely see it. And if anybody's ever seen a mud flow happen before, it is very, very fast, and it literally could be 3, 4, maybe even 5 feet tall, and just runs down the hillside and finds low points. And in this case, Silverado Canyon was the low point. Vinny's still moving the camera around. We see some yards out here just completely covered with mud and ash. And, this is pretty devastating. The fire department out here, they're already calling for heavy equipment, basically probably just to, start scooping up the mud. But a lot of folks out here, outside right now, looking and assessing the damage. And also, when something like this happens, it's a lot of noise. It isn't just, it isn't quiet, it sounds like thunder as it just kind of rolls down the hillside. But like you said, Michaela, no injuries to anybody, and that is very, very important.
At this point, that's the best news we can hope for. Obviously, too, it's going to be a moment to assess the full sense of what it is. It's great to see the crews out there, fire department, water and power. They're going to get some heavy equipment in there to help navigate it. But it looks like a pretty big area that's been affected by this. I know that we can't get a full view of it because we're so high up. But we're talking a lot of area that's been affected by the mudslide. Is there a sense, are you thinking, again, you're over top of it, have homes been affected by it? Has the mud gone into the homes?
Well, you know what, getting into the homes, we can't really say, Michaela. We hear that there's, structural damage, minor. We did see, mud, this is somebody's front yard right there. That person, probably the homeowner, their car buried, in that mud when it came down the hillside. Vinny, if just kind of go real wide real quick and then pan off to the right, you can see where all this mud came from. This is the area that burned earlier, and you can see there is some vegetation up here, but for the most part, it is completely bare. And all that this morning when we had those heavy rains, it started flowing down that hillside, and it just basically dumped into that Silverado Canyon area. White's Canyon is the actual name of the town, a little bit farther down the road. Again, though, no injuries. We're also wondering about power. We do know that Orange County Fire Authority, they have a command post set up farther down away from the danger. But there you go. You have the residents out there walking through the mud this morning, maybe checking on neighbors, maybe checking on some of their property. But this was it was very devastating when it happened, for sure. a lot of noise. And, you know, when it's happening, these folks are in their house. What do? You just kind of have to, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of panic, but there's not much you can do. We don't really have a prepare for mudslide drills. So
you know, I mean, you make a good point, right? Look, you live in this area, you know about the fire danger, you know about the mudslide danger that comes with the fire. You know, sometimes people that don't live in Southern California, they tease us, right, about we panic when it starts to rain in Southern California. This is at back of mind. If you've lived in the area for any length of time, this is the concern. We have a drought. We have a fire. After the fire, the hillsides are essentially raised, and there's no sort of anything to hold the moisture in. And then there's mudslides and canyons, and these beautiful canyons. That's the other part of this that's so heartbreaking, Stu, right? This is why people come and live here. It's gorgeous. Right. These canyons are beautiful. They come with this unfortunate aspect. It's interesting that vehicles, we got a little dozer down there already trying to do some work. The vehicles, it looks as though the mud carried some of those vehicles.
Yeah, definitely. That looks like 2 Teslas and a very, very expensive Mercedes GT right there. And you know, I don't think they parked them like that. I have a feeling that the mud just kind of moved them. They just moved them out of the way when that mud came down there. And that's the thing too. When it's moving in that like when it's rolling down the hillside, it's like liquid. So it might have actually floated some of these cars, and then basically the water just keeps going and the soot stays. It's a little difficult because we're shooting straight down, but you're talking about the beauty out here. One side of the canyon completely bare and just full of ash, and the other side of the canyon kind of green from the recent rains. And it's just, but the burn side is the part that was all the problems out here this morning. And again, no loss of life, but also the rains aren't over. So you know that the fire department and the first responders, they're going to be thinking about this, and they might be asking some of these folks, you know, maybe you might want to. Yeah, you might want to leave or wait till at least till the rains are over. But take a look what we see right now. Skyfox, the first one's on scene, just getting here, and we can just follow the devastation. And that's all what we're showing you right there. That's all Silverado Canyon.
Yeah, and we can't get a sense of just how deep it is, but we were watching someone walk around, and they looked like they were at least up to their knees. And it, you know, if you've ever walked through mud, not easy. Okay, we're going to keep Stu over top of this. We're going to try and get more information about what's happening there in Silverado Canyon. Obviously, mudslides are ooh, that's going to make you dizzy if you look at it too long. Mudslides affecting the area, very concerning, especially because we have this winter storm moving through the area. We'll get an update when we can. For now, we'll take a short break.